All right, TriMet fans, I want my buddy TriMet Driver at Twitter, at TriMet Driver. Look, this is for you, my friend. Yes. Uh-oh. My beer's warmed up. I do believe in drugs and alcohol. Absolutely. All right, we're going to do a dissection of the TriMet board meeting now, and we'll start. But first I want to make some comments on the presentations, which were absolutely excellent. Again, I mean, people that go there and really know how to make a presentation and make an articulate, well thought out, heartfelt presentation. But I already know who the sock puppets are. And those folks, these are the Portland activists, okay? I'm so glad the Portland activists are finally getting involved with TriMet, because TriMet's been getting away with murder for years because they're under the radar. Okay, they're running under the radar. Basically, they've been operating in secret for many, many years, and they're finally starting to come out from behind that secrecy because of people like me and others who have been looking at them. But to see the Portland activists showing up at this meeting was just great, because these are some real activist people, and they did some great presentations. And Warner actually shut down the board meeting because Mimi was asking some questions of the director of diversity, which we're going to watch in a minute here. And Warner refused to allow him to answer her questions, and so he shut down the whole board meeting. Now, those of you who watched the City of Portland meetings, and I've watched those, can see that the TriMet board and Warner, this is nothing, man. Okay, they're treating you nice, okay, compared to how these people deal with their oligarchs over at the city council. Okay, they were nice to you, they were respectful to you. They were trying to work with you, and you shut them down. And that's pretty much, TriMet's not used to any kind of dissent. This is unusual for them. So obviously they overreacted. But we'll see how this works out for them going forward. People are getting a clue. Finally, I'm so thankful. And I want to give nothing but respect for the people that showed up and gave those great presentations. I'm just so impressed, because I can't speak like that. I'm not competent enough to be able to make those kind of presentations. And when I see a really good public speaking venue like this, I'm very impressed. I mean, they were all good. And the board doesn't listen to you, but they're scared of you. They wouldn't have shut down the meeting if they weren't scared of you. So you have them on the run. Let's keep up that good work. Let's see what we can do with these people. And I've already figured out what I'm going to do. I've been stuck back east for a while now, and I'm going to be coming back west soon. And I've already figured out what I'm going to do with this board. Okay, I know what to do. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be a secret, because I'm not tipping them off. I know the TriMet people watch my stuff and look at my stuff because they want to know because they're smart. The TriMet people are smart. Anybody that thinks they're stupid is an idiot. They're smart. They know what they're doing, and they're very educated. They're very intellectual. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, because you'll be prepared for it. But I know how I'm going to get you guys, and you're not going to see it coming either. And you're not going to be able to do anything to me. You're not going to be able to pull Elaine Jensen on me and try to figure out some way to put me in jail like you did that phony bullshit Elaine. Which I'm never going to forgive you for, by the way, because that was so unconscious. How do you live with yourself, Neil? You tried to ruin his life? How do you people live with yourselves? You just don't care, do you? You really do think you're superior human beings to us, don't you? You really believe that nonsense. Guess what? You're going to be dead in the ground just like everybody else, rotting. And you better hope there's no God, because if there is, you got some splaining to do.
On Friday, June 9th, with Dr. Bethel, in which we reviewed key transparency statistics. There were 845 page views of the Transparency and Accountability Center during the month of May.
That is fucking fantastic. There were 845 views for the month of the Trimet account, and 300 of those were me, by the way. Okay, I mean my blog gets my blog gets hits like that in a day. You know, I don't get a huge amount of hits, but I get like 400 to 800 a day at my blog. And your transparency, Jesus. So you got 800 hits, half of which were mine. In other words, nobody's looking at your transparency center.
2017, and that is a 9% increase over May of 2016, when we had 775 unique page views. The most visited information within the Accountability Center for May 2017 was our ridership and performance statistics. The second most visited information was our public records request page, which I understand you will get a better idea of as why when we hear from Kim Okamoto later this morning. The third most visited information was TriMet's budget pages, followed by the performance dashboard at number 4, and rounding out the top 5 was TriMet's 2016 audited financial statements.
That's actually pretty good information. I mean, when Sleepy Bethel gives these reports, you know, he reads off a piece of paper. I don't think I remember anybody ever giving readership statistics on their page before. This is the first time I've heard them actually say this. So I'm glad that they're telling you what it is, if you're looking at the board meeting. The last time I looked at the TriMet site, I think they had 200 and some odd views on there. I mean, who's going to wait through a 3-hour meeting to watch this shit? People, only idiots like me.
We also reviewed the current version of the HopCard website and provided a number of suggestions for clarity and ease of use with that HOPS website to the web designers, including dubbing some of the informative videos about how to use the new HOP FastPass card into other languages to make it more accessible. And our next committee meeting will be Friday, December 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I was going to ask John Gardner to
thank you.
deal with the TIAC report. If I could.
All right, this is a so-called Director of Diversity and Equity. You know, every city bureau has their token black person who's the Director of the Equity and Diversity. And, you know, I'm not going to be totally disparaging. Maybe the man, I did know the guy before him, Jonell Bell. I think he really did care, but even he confided in me. Me and Jonell actually got together and talked. Even he confided in me that he was stuck within the constraints of the TriMet. You know, if you're talking about TriMet, you're constrained by what you can say. Everybody that knows anything about TriMet knows that's true. You have to be toe a line there. Even I had a toe a line. Okay, I was just a goddamn lowly bus driver, and they would get upset about me saying things. So let's listen to what this. I've never met this guy, but let's hear what he has to say about it all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Members of the board. So we had a very packed TIAC meeting last month. We voted in a new member, Steve Butler from Washington County. Steve is a former lawyer who is sight impaired and an honored citizen, and we're excited for that. He's transit dependent as well and also uses Lyft, so we're very excited for that perspective to be added to the conversation. We received an update on the enhanced transit plan from PBOT and TriMet staff. That was part of an open house a few weeks ago when we were able to give our priorities and our feedback to that plan, and people were very excited about being part of that process for the future sort of outlay of transit in the region. We also discussed the transit precinct relocation with our focus mainly on what we could be doing in partnership in the community room, a resource that doesn't exist today and could be one of the positives for the relocation of that center. And there's a lot of good ideas, but I think as that project opens up, we want to engage more community partners in that conversation. We received a brief update from 2 members of the Multnomah County Youth Commission who talked to us about the City of Portland's plans to expand the youth pass to East County in terms of what they're thinking and how that could actually happen and what our potential role could be. So stay tuned for more information on that. We also had a very good conversation about the tragedy on Max and what kind of role TIAC can play in ensuring that there's a balanced approach to safety and security while still making the system welcoming to all those that are riding it. And so in addition to the work on fair enforcement, they also want to be part of that conversation moving forward. And then we also finally talked about work plan updates, things like low-income fare, where we're going to leverage the 85 nonprofits we work with today as we operationalize that opportunity, if we're so lucky to do so based on what happens in the legislature, and our partnership with the Orca Lift program, so we can learn and move fast based on some of the things they've done. And we also talked about Metro's efforts to sort of develop a forecast for regional construction projects to inform our work to continue to have high utilization on Trimet projects, as well as a balanced and diverse workforce. So very full, a very good meeting, very well attended.
Well, that was all very lovely. He didn't really say anything, did he? What did he say? He said, we're working on this, we're working on that, we're working on this, we're working on that, we're working on this. But he didn't say anything. A perfect bureaucrat. Take up space, but don't say anything. Whatever, man.
Any questions of John just a moment before you leave? Comment, I saw Orlando's, in his testimony, he was just kind of looked like he was interested in update where we are with our low fare program. Was he at any of those meetings, at the TIAC meeting?
No, he doesn't attend TIAC. Nicole Phillips, who's with Bus Riders Unite, does attend TIAC. And so what we're thinking, and obviously we're on pins and needles in terms of what's going to happen with the transportation package, as is a lot of folks. But what we have planned now is probably an August summit with those 85 agencies and other organizations to talk about sort of how we can operationalize not just a potential low-income fare program, but also the administrative hearing process that TriMet successfully passed through HB 277.
Perfect.
But also the Hop Fast Pass program too, and how we can make sure that those agencies and the people they serve, the communities they serve, are actually able to benefit from all three things that TriMet's working on. So Opal and many others will be part of that conversation.
Okay. You might want to send Orlando a note just to let him know that's what's going on.
Okay.
This motherfucker Bruce Warner, he's scary, man, because he's too good, okay? Bruce Warner is scary because he really knows what he's doing. And if you look at him like I have over these years and watch him work, he's good, okay? He knows what he's doing, and he understands how to deal with the public. That's what makes him scary, because he knows what to say. Okay, we don't know what he's thinking, but he does know what to say.
I was curious.
One suggestion would be the task force that worked on the low-income fare program. It might be nice to send them an update on what some of the foundation work that's underway to implement it, provided the funding becomes available.
And we are, in partnership with Metro, we're keeping them fairly updated. I mean, we've been in a gap of work because we have agreed to convene no matter what the session decides as soon as the session's over, to talk about next steps either way. But we can do just, we can send out information about the collateral and the advocacy that's been happening since that time, since the time of our last meeting.
Excellent. Great. Thank you, John. Appreciate the update. All right, any more on those two? No? All right. Then why don't we move on to the Metro Policy Advisory Committee meeting. Director Prosser?
Yeah. The cops fit into that? Doesn't anybody want to know where the cops...
Okay, that's where Mimi started getting upset, because he didn't talk about the police state. He completely left it out. He didn't address the police presence at all. And I mean, when you're talking about equity and diversity, the police state issue is huge for that community. Okay, you can't just ignore it like he just did. You have to address it, and he didn't do it. He just glossed it over, and we know what happened after that. It was, you're out of order, meeting's adjourned, and clear the room, send the police state in. You know, we've already seen that. We're not going to go over it again.